Well, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is when you're watching this video. I'm Kelly Bearden, and I'm with the CSU Bakersfield Small Business Development Center, and I am joined by
T. Johnson with Bakersfield College Launchpad.
And our goal today is to go through some of the eligibility requirements and give you some preliminary information on the application for the entrepreneurship program, grant program for the City of Bakersfield. So let's get rolling on that. So the City of Bakersfield program, which was introduced the week of July 10th, 2023, has about $1.5 million available to 163 businesses or startups that are located within the city limits. A number of eligibility requirements that T and I will go through. But first, we'll continue with these little bits of information so you have a little background leading into the eligibility. The funding available is available in specific areas noted as census tracts, qualified census tracts. If you live in an unqualified census tract, which is one that is not designated for this area, there are other application processes that you can go to qualify. There are other means of qualifying by income and by other sources that we will talk about later. The three fundamentals of this program that a grant application must consist of is going to be a completed training class by an approved provider. You must also have a business plan that kind of roadmaps and guidelines how your business is going to succeed, because T and I like building sustainable businesses. And we want your business to sustain. The last thing we want to see you do is to receive a grant, go into business and not make it. So we're going to have you work on a business plan and receive technical assistance. And your advisor or your consultant can assist you in moving your direction further. They can work on your business plan with you, but really hopefully provide you some direction for your business, which could even include taking a grant from the City of Bakersfield and leveraging that for more money to actually capitalize your business even further. So there are 4 of us technical assistance providers that are working on this particular grant. T is obviously with the Bakersfield College Launchpad. I am with the Small Business Development Center, or SBDC. We also have the Kern County Black Chamber of Commerce as a provider in this program. And also at CSUB, the Extended Education. So Extended Education Global Office, you can reach out to any of us. We are partners in this program, and we are all here to help your business succeed within the City of Bakersfield. So I am going to turn it over to T and start with the general eligibility requirements for this particular program.
Thank you, Kelly. So let's briefly talk about some of the general eligibility requirements. 1, your business needs to be located in the city limits of Bakersfield, also within the qualified census tract. And we have a map to actually identify that, as well as a link that you can self-check to find out if you qualify under the qualified census tract. Secondly, a business owner in the household must meet the low income threshold. We do have, through the Urban Development Department, a threshold chart that you'll be able to identify what your size of the household is, as well as the income to determine your eligibility. And then 3, the business owner household must meet the moderate income, which means it's slightly above the low income, but it must include an impact statement on how you have been negatively affected by COVID. In addition, if you are receiving federal assistance, government assistance, example would be SNAP or LI-HEAP. Those things will actually qualify you as well. And so when you sit down with your intake appointment and identify where you are at in the eligibility requirements, will help you do that as well.
Fantastic. So what we're going to do is we're going to move over to the actually income requirements if you do not actually occupy that space in the within the actual census tract. So let's pull it up and go over to the eligibility requirements. And there they are for the second and third options for the low income eligibility and the moderate income eligibility.
Yeah. So that's what we're talking about. So if your household has 1 person in there and your income threshold has to be $23,828 below, and it does increase as you increase the size of your household, that's the low income eligibility. The moderate income eligibility, slightly higher, However, it must also include an impact statement. And we'll go over that impact statement shortly, but I want to just identify other ways that I mentioned before with the government assistance, and that would be TANF, SNAP, NSLP, SSI, if you are on early Head Start, or if you're receiving WIC or Pell Grants or other type of vouchers, that is also a qualifier for this particular grant.
So there are a lot of different ways to qualify for this particular grant. And I think it's important also to know where this source of funds is coming from. And these monies are coming from the ARPA, which is the final stimulus program of COVID-19. So these are technically COVID-19 funds. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of eligibility that is going to be required that you were affected by COVID-19. So ARPA stands for the American Rescue Plan, and these are federal funds that come down to the city. So, you know, on a very local level, working with businesses, it's not T&I's decision to make eligibility requirements. And although the city of Bakersfield received this money from the federal government, it's not oftentimes their requirements. So these are coming from Washington, D.C. These are rules that are coming with the program. So eligibility program, it's part of requirements are part of actually a number of individuals from the federal, state, and even local level that can get into this. So let's continue on with our slideshow. So we talked about eligibility, and for people that really want to know more about where the census tracts are, there's some great resources at the City of Bakersfield. If you go to the Entrepreneurship Program website, there's some links there all about the program. You're going to find a lot of information there on what are the city limits. And since this is a city program, it does need to be in the city limits of Bakersfield. And also it needs to be in the qualified census tract if that is the eligibility route that you're taking. He just described many different eligibility routes that you could potentially take on this. But if you go other than being outside of the qualified census tract, or the QCT as we like to call it, then what is going to happen is you're going to have those eligibility requirements that we just went over. Yeah. So there's the qualified census tract map. And so those are great resources to see. In at least one of these sites, you can actually put in your home address, or excuse me, your business address, and actually see if you are within the qualified census tract, and then not needing to provide the financial household income information or qualify for a lot of the other areas. So there is that. And T, would you like to talk about the impact statement at this time that is for the moderate income eligibility, or eligibility number 3?
Yes, absolutely, Kelly. So this is going to be the most important part. So we don't want you to be overwhelmed by the impact statement. Basically what it does, it describes how your business, your startup, or your expansion costs have been impacted by COVID-19 pandemic. An example would be increasing in expenses or delays, difficulties in accessing capital or credit. It could be a reduction in revenues, delayed, things that have been postponed, things that have really negatively, adversely impact your business. And so you would write out a short statement. There's not a big, long dissertation or thesis that you have to do. And we can actually help you during your application process of what does that impact statement looks like for you. However, this is a supporting document that you need in order to apply for this grant.
Yeah, that comes with the moderate income eligibility, which were the higher numbers that we went over just a few moments ago. So another thing to remember, there are other ways to qualify. We just kind of went through those. Mm-hmm. If you're qualifying this way, do you need the eligibility statement?
Oh, so absolutely. So if you are qualifying using this, you actually have to fill out the impact statement as well. This is going to support this documentation as well. So you have to make it clear this is federal funds. So they want to know how are you being impacted, but also how we can support you in the best way possible.
Great. So again, there's a little bit of information about the program. If you're looking for more information, like for the actual application, the application is something that you're going to need to fill out with your service provider that you pick. And again, we'll go through a list of those, and you can actually go to the website and see. T, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Bakersfield College Launchpad?
So at Bakersfield College Launchpad, just email us at launchpad@bakersfieldcollege.edu, and our program coordinator will return, book you an intake appointment, and we'll have some one-on-one mentorship to really break down the program to determine your eligibility, and to really go step by step over the application process with you.
The application is about approximately 5 pages, and for us to assist you at the CSU Bakersfield SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, you can call our office at 654-2856 here in downtown Bakersfield. You can Google us. You can Google the Bakersfield Launchpad. You can Google the Kern County Black Chamber of Commerce, and you can Google Extended Education at CSUB. You can contact any of us. Any of us are here to help you, and to help you provide the technical assistance, the assistance in the application. We feel you get a good information, you just received good information on eligibility. So if you think that you are eligible, if you're not eligible, there's other ways that we can help you. Maybe there's some small business loans or other sources out there. But from my standpoint, I really think the real beauty in this particular program is the aspect of the technical assistance that you're going to receive, and that's the training program. It's great that we do have, most of these grants are going to be $5,000 to $10,000. T, why don't you mention a little bit of the aspects of the grants that are going to be $25,000 and $40,000 and the very limited number and the requirements behind them?
Well, we know everyone would want the $40,000, and so who wouldn't take it? So with this program, there is 163 grants, and so we've identified 3 being at the $40,000 level, we have 4 being at the $25,000 level, 100 at the $10,000, and 56 at the $5,000 level. So it really comes down to your expansion and your growth. Your business plan will identify where you would fall in that tier of funding. So your business plan is the technical assistance part that Kelly was just mentioning that we offer at the Launchpad. SBDC also offers it. What does it help you with? It helps you with all the components of your business. So you walk away with a business plan. That's including your organizational structure, your financial planning, your marketing planning, and how you execute the business plan. And in that, you include your expansion costs, which includes, it could be hiring new staff. So for the $25,000 and $40,000, we are looking at job creations. Are you able or plan on hiring a full-time employee in the future with these funds? And so on top of that, it covers equipment, utility, mortgages, payroll costs, and more. You can learn about all the itemized things that are covered in this program during your intake appointment. But once again, not everyone will get that $40,000 eligibility, but that's okay because you're getting the business support that you need to help grow and sustain your business.
And there are job requirements hiring employees in that $25,000 and $40,000 range.
Yes.
So it's not going to be for everyone. Now, we went through the basic eligibility, but there's some other required information. There's a lot of information. This is coming from the federal government. Come on. So, a lot of things that are going to be required both federally and locally. Some of the things locally is you're going to need to be up to date with a current City of Bakersfield business license. That could be a home occupational license as well. But also you're going to need the county actual fictitious business statement. If you don't qualify for other means, there's other state requirements if you're a corporation, and up to date on your taxes. So there's a lot of regulations, and this is why T and I are here today, is to let you know there's a lot of assistance out here to help you in this particular program. We both have advisors that can work with you on this and to take you through the particular process to actually not only meet your goals, if your goal is to get a $5,000 or $10,000 grant or potentially one of the higher ones, but really to build a sustainable business, because that is what we're here to do. And this is another one of the tools that we're being offered thanks to the City of Bakersfield in order to help you get that to that point.
And I would like to also add, I get this question quite often now that we're doing intake appointments. This grant is not for nonprofits.
Correct.
So, and often the nonprofits, you definitely need support. And we have resources here in Kern County that we can refer you to for a nonprofit. But for this particular federal grant, you must be for-profit business.
So another thing is, people will ask us, well, there is a qualified census tract map. And we did kind of refer to that earlier, but we will open the curtain a little bit here and just describe where that potential area is. And if you look at the census tract map, it is a large area of the downtown area. It is going to be your lower and moderate income individual by census tract. So it's not by zip code, it's not by parts and blocks of the city. The federal government defines a lot of this stuff by census tracts and use that during the census process, elections, and all this other fun stuff like where we are today. So a lot of this area, T, is going to be in the central part of Bakersfield. And then a lot of it is going to be toward the south and also toward the east. And those are going to be the area, the tracts. But again, it's vitally important because we will run into a situation to where you put in your address and you qualify in a qualified census tract. And the neighbor across the street does this and they do not. That is the nature of census tracts and also potentially from city and county boundary lines and other things. So there's a lot of information on the census tracts. T, what are some of the other forms that people are going to need or some of the other requirements if they go the alternative route of eligibility through the income process?
Well, we're asking that you complete our employment verification form that identifies your employer, how long you've been working, are you full-time, part-time, and you're indicating your hourly wage. So we definitely need that verification form in order to meet one of the eligibility requirements under the low to moderate income requirements.
So if I'm an existing business owner and I have 2 employees, do I need to have my employees fill out these forms too?
No, you don't. No, I had to even do a double take and I'm like, where are you going with this, Kelly?
I know that question will come up.
No, you don't.
Perfect.
You don't. So in the application, it is going to ask you to identify your employees, how many you have. And that's also important. And then one thing I want to, before we go into our intake process, this application is for one business. So many of you have several business partners. We're asking that one applicant per business for this grant. And if oftentimes we'll see multiple applications, we would have to actually pull them. And it's going to take some time to do some research to figure out the who, what, where, when, and why. So we please ask you to submit only one application through one service provider as well. Perfect.
Okay. So the client intake form. A client intake form is when you come to see one of your technical assistance providers. You go to the Launchpad, you go to the SBDC, you go to the Black Chamber, you go to Extended Education. And essentially, this is just information for us. Explain exactly the nature of the intake form and why we do it.
So we want to get to know you. Oftentimes, we will shortchange ourselves by ruling out if we qualify just based on the census tract. So the client intake form allows us to really deep dive into identifying your participation into this grant. So as a startup business, we're looking at new businesses with less than 2 years in operation. That's less than 2 years. That's within the city limits and within 10 employees or less. And then we identify the small business as an established small business with more than 2 years in operation within the Bakersfield city limits and 25 employees or less. We do have other identifiers. Are you woman-owned business? What does your racial identity look like, and so forth? And so we really want to know, do you plan on creating quality jobs? And if so, how many? We want to know, do you plan on applying for the grant? So there's 2 components to this program. It's the business technical program that's going to support you so you can build the capacity in your business. And there's the access to capital part of it, which is the grant. The business side will prepare you for the grant side. So they work in conjunction with one another.
There's some great value in this program for businesses, and we're both really excited to bring it to them. And as a matter of fact, I'm excited that we're going to try to do this on a bi-weekly basis, or as frequently as it's needed to come in and update you on the qualifications, the status, and the update of this particular program. So what are some of the things that you would like to leave with people as they start their journey through this particular process?
Well, we know that everyone has curiosity. So go to the links for the census tract to see just the surface qualifications if you qualify on that level. And then secondly, understand that there is a business technical assistance program to support you. Even if you're thinking about being in business, you don't have all of your organizational structure put together, there are resources here to support you.
Yeah, and that's great information. And also, please do reach out if you need assistance, and please understand that this is going to be somewhat of a bureaucratic process for you. And a lot of small businesses aren't the best at working through a way through bureaucratic processes. I understand this. I'm of that mindset. So what you need to do is just kind of proceed on, and we'll get through the steps together, and we'll get this, and we'll get your business growing. So that's all I have today.
I'm excited about it.
I am too. Again, your contact information
is launchpad@bakersfieldcollege.edu. You can just email us and share your information with us, and we'll contact you right on back.
And at the SBDC, you can also contact us via email at SBDC for Small Business Development Center at csub.edu, or call us at 654-2856. Iris is standing by to take your call. So for T. Johnson and our other partners, Nick Hill, Dr. Mark Novak, and with the Black Chamber of Commerce with Advanced Education at CSUB, I'm Kelly Bearden. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Have a great one.
Bye-bye now.